Welcome to episode 11 of Chats. Today we are talking about the Oscar nominees. I'm Corbin.
I'm Sarah.
And I guess I keep on saying what we're doing before I introduce ourselves, but yes, we are talking about the Oscar nominees. They just came out, I believe. Nominations. Nominations and nominees.
Yeah.
I believe they came out start of the week Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it's very fresh in our minds. I've seen a lot of these films. I'm a huge film guy, and I'm seeing movies constantly. Mom has seen a few of these, and she's heard a lot about them.
Well, we're both movie fans, so
yes.
That's the main thing is we both enjoy movies. We like pop culture, so for us, this is we kind of take note of when this happens.
Yeah, and
so you're going to talk about the specific nominations, just the main categories,
yes.
right? We're not going to get into foreign language animation type thing.
And then at the end, we might round it out with some snubs.
I was going to do snubs.
Yes,
I have snubs. Yes,
so we can do that at the end.
Yes.
So let's, without further ado, get started.
Okay.
These are the 92nd Academy Awards, and they are going to be going on Sunday, February 9th of 2020.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. 92nd. I wonder what they're going to do for the 100th. That's going to be pretty big.
Huge. It'll be huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So starting off here, they have Best Actor right up front. Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
The only one I've seen is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leo. So
yeah, I haven't seen the first three, but I've seen Joker and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was personally not a big fan of Joker, and I was quite surprised to hear that it has the most nominations this year, which I don't know. Maybe I'm very picky with my movies, but wasn't a big fan of it. The only award I can really understand it getting is this award for Joaquin Phoenix, because he always brings it when he comes, like Gladiator. I'm blanking, but like the movie Her. He always
he's just outstanding,
yes.
And he's a well-rounded actor, and he's not afraid to do the quirky stuff.
Yeah,
and I think he's done it long enough to show that he's got a great body of work. Go through the list of the other nominees again, just their names.
Jonathan Pryce,
No.
Adam Driver,
No.
Antonio Banderas.
No. I think it's going to be between Leo and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
And just because, Leo seems to come out every couple of years with, we had the Revenant there,
Yes.
the Revenant. I'm saying it wrong.
The Revenant. Yeah.
Revenant a couple years ago, and that got everybody excited. So, he kind of flies under the radar for awards and then all of a sudden pops up with something. So I can see people saying that, he should be recognized. I don't think he's the one that's going to win for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I can see where it'd be Joaquin Phoenix because he's not won it before. And it would be great timing for him because it was such a different type of movie. It wasn't your typical Marvel or DC Comics or tentpole type movie.
Yes. It was a big movie. And maybe one of these other three actors have pulled off an amazing performance that we just haven't seen because I don't think any of these movies, other than Marriage Story, is on Netflix, which we have on a list of.
We talked about watching that.
Yes.
Pryce there, you know who that is.
Jonathan Pryce. It rings a bell.
He was in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's the father of
yes,
Elizabeth Swann.
Elizabeth Swann. Yes. Okay, I know
he's
him.
a great actor, and I know that's probably like people who are movie fans are going, "That's the one you're using to reference him with." But just
he's in Game of Thrones
for pop culture. Yes, and he was in Game of Thrones for a minute, and that was a creepy.
For a minute.
That was a creepy.
But that just shows how good of an actor he is.
I know. I really didn't like him in that role, but anyway.
No, I haven't heard. I've heard of that the Two Popes movie making some noise. I have heard nothing about Pain and Glory at all. I don't know what that's about.
No, we'd have to look that one up.
No. So
and we're not doing. Sorry, to be clear, we're not doing this as we're Siskel and Ebert. And we're doing official movie reviews.
I like to think I am, but
this
certainly
is
not.
as lay people, man on the street, finger quotes. We're the people that are paying the money for these movies, and as far as who thinks why we feel they could win. From a less than educated perspective, I don't even think we'd qualify in the voting pool, but it's just our opinion.
No, and so rounding it out, I want Leo to win just because I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You'll hear a lot of that, but I put my money on Joaquin Phoenix, and we'll come back to this with a podcast episode after the Oscars. And see where we lined up. So,
yes.
I should have brought a pen and paper to write it down,
That's
but I'll
okay.
remember it. I'll remember it.
We'll remember.
Next up is the big one, which is Best Picture. We have 1917, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, The Irishman, Little Woman, Jojo Rabbit, and Marriage Story.
I'm torn in this category.
It's a lot of movies here.
Yes. How many did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 movies.
That's a lot.
It's quite a lot. I think the big ones are going to be... well, what do you think? I want to hear what you think first.
Well, let me look at the list here,
Yes.
because I've not seen all these movies. So I did not see 1917, nor was I interested in seeing it until you saw it and said it was amazing and I should see it.
Yes.
Ford versus Ferrari, I loved it. It was one of those movies where it was like the third one in a string that we were like, that's an awesome movie. Joker, have not seen. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was one of the 3 movies I just referenced a moment ago.
Yeah.
Loved that movie, thought it was well done. Parasite, no, have not seen it.
That's with Aquafina, I believe. It's a... Or no, not Aqua... No, sorry, that's... No, that's another
She's in a
movie.
different one.
This is... Yeah, it's a...
I've
it's
heard
another
good things
film.
about it. That people
Yes.
say that it's something worth checking out. I just have not. It's not been in a theater at the time that I've been available to go. The Irishman, all I know is that you really have to have 3 hours that you don't need back to watch it.
I couldn't... I got through an hour of it on a car ride, and I don't have the patience or time, and I'm at home all the time, and that says something.
I was going to say, right now you have time on your hands, and if you aren't interested in giving up 2 more hours to see this
Yeah.
movie, I know I don't want to see it at all.
No. Well, I've seen a bit of it, and it's old Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and Martin Scorsese trying to do
And Al Pacino.
and Al Pacino, but like those main 3 trying to redo the golden days, and sadly they're not gonna be back.
Yeah.
But keep going.
What can you do? Little Women, and again, I know as the feminist part in me says I should go watch it. Again, I do not feel motivated to spend the better part of $50 to take someone and go see that movie, so I will wait till it comes out on the small screen. Jojo Rabbit. Okay, so there's the 3. Marriage Story, haven't seen it, don't know anything about it. Jojo Rabbit, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Ford versus Ferrari. If one of those wins, any one of those wins, for me, having seen them, I would be happy.
Yeah.
I know you've said 1917 is really good, so I don't know how you would vote on that.
Yeah. Well, I've seen almost all of them except Marriage Story, Little Women, Parasite, and I guess that's it. But Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, and The Irishman, and Jojo Rabbit even, I think they're not gonna take it. And if they do, I wouldn't be fuming. I'd just be like disappointed.
Okay, so who do you think?
I think 1917, but I want Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But it's kind of tied for want between 1917 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I love the story. I love the characters. It's a rewatchable movie for me. 1917 on a technical and a whole round aspect. The acting, the filming,
You
know,
felt
the
it was more
direction.
like an experience.
It was an experience,
Yeah.
and I
Whereas Once Upon a Time didn't
Yeah.
have that.
a little bit, but
But if it's got that, go back to. That's the difference,
Yeah.
though. Is if you say you go see 1917 and it was an experience, it was the experience of that time seeing, as opposed to
Yes.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You just said you'd go back and watch it over and over and over
Yeah.
again. So there's a likability there. But is it the movie that's going to mark the year? I don't know.
I'm putting my money on 1917 here.
Okay, and I'm going to put mine on. I'm hedging my bets.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm winning if Ford versus Ferrari, Once Upon a Time, or Jojo Rabbit wins.
Oh,
then I'm
gosh.
winning. I've got
Okay.
3. I
Good
got
luck.
3-point spread there.
And we also have the hindsight of the Golden Globes. Don't think I'm just cherry picking the winners from the Golden Globes. But the Golden Globes was the reason why I sought out 1917, because it was winning so many awards, and it also hadn't come out in Canada at that time yet.
I was going to say, to be fair,
Yes.
it wasn't released, so we couldn't have seen it before
No.
the Globes.
All right, so next up is Best Actress. We have Charlize Theron for Bombshell, Renee Zellweger from Judy, Cynthia Erivo from Harriet, Scarlett Johansson from Marriage Story, and Saoirse Ronan. I know I'm butchering the name.
No, you're right, Cersei.
From Little Woman. There's the list.
Okay.
I've seen Bombshell, Little Woman, or not Little Woman.
Women.
I've seen Bombshell and Judy. That was the other one.
Yes.
I wanted to see Harriet in theaters, but it was one of those ones that we just couldn't get to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tough category, and I've heard good things about Cynthia Erivo from Harriet, and that she did a great performance. From the trailers we saw, it looked like a great film. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cynthia won it or Charlize won it. I'd say one of those two.
Really? See, I'm thinking it could be between Charlize Theron and Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, well,
Because I know Renee's kind of been like out of it for a while, and she came back. We have to remember, this isn't just about the quality of a performance. We like to think it is.
Well,
it's
no.
also politically motivated. So you have to remember, here's a movie that a previous Oscar winner, she won an Oscar.
she won an Oscar for Monster. Charlize, you mean?
No, I'm
right?
talking about Renee.
I don't know.
I'm going
her.
to, when I give you your phone back, I'll check on my phone.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure Renee Zellweger, if she hasn't won, she's been nominated before. And she is doing a biopic on an icon.
Judy Garland.
They like that stuff.
Oscars
Yeah.
like Hollywood movies.
You are paying homage to,
yes.
the icon. So they'll like that. Charlize Theron, if they're looking to kind of recognize the Me Too movement, and of course, what that woman will do. They said she was in makeup for like 3 hours.
You're spoiling what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. She in the movie. No offense to Margot Robbie or the other actress Nicole Kidman in the movie. They all did great, but the person that transformed and became the person that they're supposed to be was Charlize Theron.
Literally
the
and
voice,
figuratively.
the face, the hair, like everything. And now it's not like how she was a monster where she's unrecognizable. Like she is almost unrecognizable, but she was the character. And she did a great job, and I agree with you about how things are politically. The Oscars would be that kind of sneaky, trying to get in there. So you put your money on Renee and Charlize. I put my money on Charlize and Cynthia, just based off the trailers and the talk of the movie Harriet.
Okay, so and because I've had a moment to look on my phone here.
Yes.
So Renee Zellweger was nominated for Best Actress in 2002 for Bridget Jones' Diary, and I can't speak for some reason. She was nominated, did not win. Okay. She was nominated the next year in 2003 for Chicago.
Oh,
she was amazing in Chicago.
Didn't get that,
she did not get it.
No.
She was then nominated as Best Supporting Actress in 2004. So there's 3 years straight. She won in 2004 for Cold Mountain as Best Supporting Actress.
Never heard of that movie though.
I've very good movie. I've not seen it, but anyone I know who has seen it, it was powerful.
Okay.
So anyway, so there you've got a spread, of 16 years, and she has been kind of under the radar. This role kind of brought her back out, and I mean, you saw it yourself. She does the singing.
She does. That is true. I like it when actors actually do the singing in their films, if they're playing a musician. But it was one of those things where I don't think the performance was good. It just doesn't stick with me.
Is it because it's maybe not a role or a character that maybe you are
I think it's
attached to?
As much as I hate to say it, I think it's the story. They chose probably one of the weakest parts of her life and least interesting parts of her life to dive into. For the majority of the movie, it's not like one of those biopics like Bohemian Rhapsody where it goes from start to finish.
Okay.
It takes the last part of her life and just puts it into movie form.
Okay.
And I think it's just a little bit of that, but I think I don't know. I think Charlize had a stronger role.
Good. Well, you've seen them both, so you'll know better. I'm gonna say Charlize. I haven't seen the movie. I want to see the movie.
But from the trailers, you could tell
it's striking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next up is Best Supporting Actor. We have Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joe Pesci for The Irishman, Al Pacino for The Irishman, and Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead, and I really want Brad Pitt to get it. I don't think Joe Pesci or Al Pacino have it, and unless Anthony Hopkins with The Two Popes blew it away, I don't think he's going to get it. I think this might be a Tom Hanks one, just because it's Tom Hanks. From the trailer, he looks like Mr. Rogers. People have a nostalgia bone for that, and he, nostalgia bone. And
use that in your conversation this
to make
week,
things
listeners.
extremely awkward. Tom Hanks is just, it's Tom Hanks. I think I don't really have any reason for it. I think Tom Hanks is going to get it. I want Brad Pitt to get it.
I'm saying Brad Pitt.
You're saying
you don't
Brad
even have
Pitt?
to show me
No?
the list. I'm saying Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Because first of all, and this is my expertise, I don't like Joe Pesci.
No.
Not a fan.
No.
He's kind of annoying and grating, and he's not
Not
really
even
an
in
actor.
Home Alone?
No, not even. Well, that's the thing. I don't think he's acting. I think that's
He's
Joe
just
Pesci.
angry.
He just shows up at work
Yeah.
and spews and reads lines. I think
gets
that's
some
Joe
therapy
Pesci.
out.
Exactly. So yeah, I was very impressed, and I kind of went into Once Upon a Time with kind of like, oh, Brad Pitt. You know, he's really supposed to be like the lowly stunt guy, like, because he's always a marquee kind
Yeah.
of actor. He was spot on.
Every
Like, it
scene he was
brilliant.
in, I couldn't take my eyes off him. And
The
he was,
whole scene where he's in the car with the girl as they're heading out to the farm.
Yeah.
Again, not giving anything away. The awkward, the uncomfortable, like just the tension and the discomfort, and you could literally see him thinking.
the pauses and everything.
Yeah,
It's
he's
just well
trying to
done.
read the situation and everything. It was so subtle as how he tilts his head, and to me, that's amazing acting.
And it's not the acting of acting, but
It was a terrific
it
performance.
was a great performance.
Yeah.
It sticks with you, and I think it's going to be one of those iconic Quentin Tarantino characters.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Best Supporting Actress, Kathy Bates and Richard Jewell, Margot Robbie in Bombshell, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh, P-U-G-H, in Little Woman, and Laura Dern in Marriage Story. I saw Richard Jewell. Didn't think it was Kathy Bates' best performance at all.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's how the mother was in real life, because it's hard with biopics, you know, unless you really know the person, like how we know...
To reference it.
You know, how we know the character from Bombshell for Charlize, since she's in the media. Don't know Richard Jewell's mother. Margot Robbie, I think, was probably one of the more forgettable main actresses of Bombshell. So I don't think that's it.
And the struggle there, if I may interrupt, is that she's supposed to be a compilation
Of
of
many-
other people.
yes.
So
She's not
she really
one
doesn't
person.
have. Yeah, and that's I
Yeah.
think would make it hard is that I don't doubt for a minute she probably did a good job. And again, it's on my
Oh,
list
yeah.
of things
It's
I
not
want
that
to see
she's
this
bad.
weekend.
Yeah.
It's just that it would be hard to root that performance because it's not just a case of we're going to make someone up. It's you're making a compilation
Yeah.
individual in
She
that
doesn't.
movie.
It's not as easy for her as it was for Charlize.
Perhaps.
Put it like
Maybe
that.
she deserves it because of that.
Yeah, and then Scarlett Johansson, I think she had a pretty good role in Jojo Rabbit. I obviously Marriage Story and Little Women, Little Women. We haven't seen, but I think Scarlett Johansson has a pretty solid argument for one of those. You know, it's not one of the, it's like Brad Pitt. It's not one of those acting things where it's like, oh my gosh, this is the pinnacle of acting. This is the subtlety of what she's doing, and I could really get the feeling of like the mom that like the single mom that's just trying to make her son happy. And it's a little interesting because it's in during World War II and they're German, so it adds a little bit of something to that. But once again, I think maybe Marriage Story, like Laura Dern or the lady,
She won
the
the
Golden
Globe, so
So-
she could be the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, so I throwing this one's just a fun one. I'd say Scarlett Johansson out
I'm
of the
gonna
ones we've
say
seen.
I'm much more emphatic compared to you because I look at that performance, and you know, considering Scarlett Johansson's been in a number of, and I realize Marriage Story is kind of a similar type of a role, but you know, considering she's known more right now for being Black Widow
Yes.
in like I say a large blockbuster type movie,
and in
it was
Marriage
nice to
Story,
it was
she-
nice to see her back in this type of role again
Yes.
because she built her career on these types of roles. I absolutely loved her role, and the fact that as a mom, I could identify with the duality of she's lonely, she's missing her husband, she's trying to keep her family together because her daughter has died, and now she just has her son, and she's worried about him, and living in a time in a place where her personal beliefs and her moral compass runs completely against what her country is known for. I found that really interesting, and without giving it too much away, how her story and what happens with her character I found was profound.
And the other thing I want to point out, it's also a testament to the writing, but also only a great actor or actress can pull this off. But not only did she have that gravity and weight to the character, she also had some of the funniest lines in the movie.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And as a mom, as a mom,
it's relatable.
It was relatable because she's sitting there, her son's in a funk. So okay, my job as a mom, get my kid out of the funk and make him laugh, and don't let him realize how sad I'm feeling. And even though when he goes to bed, you're gonna sit down and pound back a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
In her case, that's how she was dealing with stuff. But in her son's eyes, he never saw her in that light. He always saw her as kind of a hero. And the one scene where he's angry with her and she recreates herself as the father
Is it great?
was brilliant. It was wonderful.
Yeah. It's one of those scenes where you don't get it at first, but you have to think about it a little bit. And that's not bad. It's very interesting.
And it was a coping mechanism. Again, for the time they were in, I can imagine there would be a lot of people trying to figure out, how do we cope with this?
And just looking back, she is nominated for Best Actress as well for Marriage Story. So I could see her not winning that and getting maybe
Jojo
this
Rabbit,
one, or maybe vice versa, who knows. But so next up we have Best Director. Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Todd Phillips for Joker, Bong Joon-ho from Parasite, Martin Scorsese with The Irishman, and Sam Mendes with 1917. I'll give you the list there.
I already know who
you already know?
Yeah.
Todd Phillips, he's the director of the Hangover movies, and I'm not saying that comedian actors can't do serious movies, but
Directors.
It just seems like the Joker movie just seemed like it's trying too hard to beat other movies that have done what they're trying to do better.
You said that right at the get-go, that you felt that it was misguided.
Yeah, and it was produced by Martin Scorsese, but that doesn't give you the right to practically rip off King of Comedy, a movie starring Robert De Niro, funnily enough, and Taxi Driver, also starring Robert De Niro. It's very much those two movies with a DC flair, and I believe someone high up in the movie
actually said that.
Said that. They said they practically wanted to tell a Taxi Driver story, practically. But since superhero movies are big, they just slapped Joker on it and pitched it to the studio, and of course they said yes. So
that's lacking creativity.
It is, and it's sad to see that. I don't want Joker to win at all. Martin Scorsese, I don't see him winning. I believe it's Sam Mendes for 1917 or Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino not only made it feel like the time set it was in, from the sets to the cars to the outfits and all that, he really made it feel like that time era. And watching it with my grandmother, who lived through that, she was astonished by how much detail there was, and he just made one of those classic movies that you can rewatch over and over again, and it has a great beginning, middle, and ending. But also 1917 on a technical level, I think the amount of work it must have taken for Sam Mendes to make that film possible, it's something that I think is also worth an Oscar. So between 1917 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Well, I'm going to go for Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of his work. Most of his work. Some of it isn't my cup of tea, but for the most part, I enjoy his body of work. And just while you were chatting there, I'm going through and looking, and he's been nominated for every, it's either screenplay, best original screenplay, best director, best picture. That he's been nominated 8 times
for almost all of his movies. I believe the only one that hasn't been nominated was Kill Bill, one of the Kill Bills, or both.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards × 2, Once Upon a Time, obviously × 3, Pulp Fiction, and Django Unchained, which is he won Best Original Screenplay for Django Unchained.
I think
brilliant.
I think Inglourious Bastards should have won Best Picture that year. I forget what they lost to.
Yeah,
but it
doesn't matter. Anyway, that's my answer. Is I think it's going to be Quentin Tarantino because again, I think they look at politically. He's won before. He's got a great body of work, and it was a solid piece.
All right, we're coming up to our last 2 here, and maybe 3. We'll do 3 more, and then we'll get into the
snubs.
Okay. So, Best Original Screenplay, we have Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, and another Parasite for 2 individual writers, Knives Out, and 2 for 1917. I brought this up because we've both seen Knives Out, and I think it's one of the most enjoyable and maybe possibly rewatchable movies of the year. I would be willing to watch it again and see it, but I don't know. I don't think 1917 is strong in this department. I know it's a quote unquote family story from Sam Mendes based off his grandfather. I think
it'll get a lot of technical awards from what you've said. Like it's gonna get awards.
Hopefully.
It's not gonna. I don't think missing out on one or two of these is gonna hurt it. But I think technically it'll clean up.
And I'd give this one to Tarantino again, just for the fact that I've seen. I'm not saying that it's going to win because it's the best of them all. Personally, I think it's going to win just because Tarantino, I love what he did with subverting expectations with the movie. And he has this kind of universe, without getting into too many spoilers, he has this sort of universe where he can change and manipulate the past. And I love how...
That's a neat concept in every one of his movies.
And you don't know if it is going to be that, you know?
Yeah.
You can go into Pulp Fiction or anything like... You don't know if it's going to alternate the past. So when it gets to that time, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. And it's a fantastic job how he did the writing. And I can almost verbatim repeat every line in that movie because it's that ingrained in my memory. Because it's memorable. It's Quentin Tarantino dialogue.
His music is amazing.
Yes.
In his movies. Like you'll sit there and you'll think, wait a minute, where do I know that song from? Or you'll think, this is a completely inappropriate song, but then when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, this is a completely appropriate song.
And that's like rewatching it 5 times.
Yeah.
I've noticed something new.
New. Yeah,
every time.
Yeah.
So both Quentin Tarantino there. And then we have Best Adapted Screenplay.
I didn't get a chance.
Oh, no. You said Quentin Tarantino.
No, I said I agreed with you with what you said.
Okay.
I don't want to do Best Adapted Screenplay.
No,
I want to talk about Best Original.
Okay.
Okay, so I am voting for Knives Out.
Yes.
Because I think that movie deserved more attention. And if this is the only category, and I'm pretty sure this is the only one that it's nominated in, I want it to win it. Because if you've not seen this movie, it's one of those ones that puts the end at the beginning. You see the outcome, you know what happened, and then it kind of backs it up, and then it moves it forward. I love that you pay attention. You're not dozing off during Knives Out. You are watching every detail, and then you're analyzing it all the way home.
Yeah.
What did I miss? Oh, did you see that?
Discussing.
And we talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, you weren't with me. I was with your dad.
Yeah, I saw it on my own.
We were talking all the way home and discussing the nuances and what happened and what we missed out. Or I must not have seen that.
And
it was awesome.
The interesting characters. It's hard to make interesting characters that you can relate to or care about or just enjoy seeing, because there's a lot of times where you can dislike a character very easily. And he had a whole ensemble cast with great actors,
stacked cast.
But in terms of screenplay, he did a great job giving everyone time and giving one a compelling story
and decent characters. Like it wasn't like it was a throwaway character. Everyone had some meat and potatoes in that world.
And then Best Adapted Screenplay, we'll do it quick. Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, The Irishman, Joker, and The Two Popes.
Jojo Rabbit.
I think Jojo Rabbit is my pick as well. And then the last one, I just wanted to do this one quick. You probably won't care, but I love cinematography. It's best cinematography.
Yes.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, 1917, The Lighthouse, and Joker. I've seen all of these movies.
Except The Lighthouse.
I've seen The Lighthouse.
Oh, did you see The Lighthouse?
It was one of those ones where it's a very conceptual film.
Oh, okay. So what do you think?
I think I have... Even though The Lighthouse has a very interesting... has a different aspect ratio, and... It, black and white, and the shots are very interesting with the shadows since it's black and white. I think 1917 gets it just for how it takes the shots. You're following these characters in real time, go from one end to the other, and it's seamless transitions. There's they make it seem like there's no edits,
right?
So it's all happening at once,
right?
And just some of the shots, because the camera's constantly moving to give it that floaty feel, like you're there, you're a fly.
Taking it all in.
Yeah, it's incredible. This is one where I would not be sad at all. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I love the movie, but not in a cinematography standpoint.
That's not the one you want to see in this category.
I'd say 1917 or The Lighthouse.
Okay, I'm really not invested, other than I would just say hang on, I'll say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just to even it out.
Just even it out. And
I
then
really
we'll come
don't
back to
care.
it. We'll come back to I like cinematography. I'm a very visual guy, so it's something I find interesting.
I might feel differently if I had seen 1917.
Yes.
I'd feel the way maybe you do, but at this point, I can't say. So, is that it for the categories for you?
That's all the categories, and we're gonna get into snubs. But as I said earlier, we will definitely come back to this after the Oscars have aired, and we'll definitely cross-examine what we said we think and hope will win. See what happens. We'll give our thoughts about
we'll do
how
like
the
a
night
post-mortem on the Oscars.
So stay tuned for that.
Ooh, maybe you can stay up and you can watch the Oscars and you can update our Facebook page on different winners. You could do that.
I will do that.
Okay.
Even though sometimes I hate watching award shows all the way through, I will do it for you guys.
There you go.
They make the last picture the last one.
It is. You'll be up till 2 a.m.
Oh, yay.
Which is a whole separate topic of why our awards shows so bloody long.
Except for the one time I stayed up for the entire thing was when they messed up the cards. I remember that I stayed up for that one.
Right.
And I watched it unfold.
And they announced the wrong movie.
Were you up with me when that happened?
No, but I heard about it.
I stayed up and I was like, what is going on? I thought the
Moonlight was supposed to be the winner.
I thought the old man had like a heart attack, like he was having a seizure or something like that, because he's standing there and he looks terrified. He's stunned. Oh my gosh. Maybe that might happen again. Not an old man having a seizure.
Well, we can always talk about our impressions of the broadcast itself, because there's always something.
Yeah.
Somebody will do something.
I don't even know who's hosting this year.
I don't think they're having a host this year. I think
Again.
Oscars have moved away from that. Anyway, we're going to run out of time.
Yes.
We're over already, and we apologize. But we're going to talk quickly about the snubs. The first one that stands out most, simply because of the name, is Best Supporting Actress Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers.
Yes, as a very good movie based off a true person, once again, a real person. I think she should have at least got a nomination. I wouldn't say she would have won.
I agree.
I can't remember the nominations that we have, even though we just looked at them.
Well, you actually, I was going to say it earlier, but I didn't want to, slip or leak anything. But you had mentioned that everyone feels that her spot went to Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell.
Oh no! Yeah,
and especially when it's not
supporting, isn't it?
And especially when it's not an outstanding role, it hurts even a little more.
Yes.
So,
and Jennifer Lopez really wanted that to happen. Not that
I feel bad for her because she's working. She's working hard on that.
All the
acting
dancing and all that she learned.
But even her career, again, when you look at it from the political standpoint, but if someone at the Academy is looking at her as a fly girl, and if you don't know what that reference is, look it up, because I'm too old to have to explain it to you.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. But yeah, like for her, maybe it's a case of that she's just not no one is looking at her, like from a financial standpoint, she's tremendously successful, but she's not going to get that critical acclaim. Yeah. She could be the female Tom Cruise.
Yep.
Could be that. Anyway, moving on. This one really bothers me. Snubbed, it was The Rocket Man.
I'm shaking my fist right now.
I can't tell if it's an anger or if you're mad at what I said.
No, I'm angry because he's not nominated. Because I saw Rocket Man. I don't know if I think it was twice maybe, or once. Maybe I saw it after it came out, like to DVD. Taron Egerton did a fantastic job in that role. He took time with Elton John to really make sure he did it justice. And it makes me so mad because Rami Malek won for Freddie Mercury last year. And I got really mad when he won.
You did.
Because I don't think the performance was anything spectacular. And he didn't sing.
That's all I heard about after Bohemian Rhapsody was Corbin chirping the whole time. He didn't sing right. He didn't sing. And to be fair, you don't know, and we talked about this at the time, you don't know what the restrictions are from the family or from the licensing perspective or from the band, where they said, yes, you can do a movie. Yes, you can talk about Freddie, but it's got to be Freddie. No one wants to hear Remy sing.
And that's hard when someone's passed away.
Yeah.
But the thing is that especially when it's right after last year's Oscars, you gave Rami Malek an Oscar for not doing that great of a job, and he wasn't even singing, compared to Taron Egerton, who I think did a really great job of demonstrating almost the same story in some ways. Yeah. But also, plus the music, like the soundtrack, I can listen to the same amount of times I listen to the originals, and that's a testament to Taron's commitment to the role. And I just, it blows it really is like the taking off the Band-Aid from last year I was finally healed from the Rami Malek stuff. And then the Oscars were like, let me take that Band-Aid off. Rip.
Open the wound again.
Yes.
Well, and the best, there is a nomination for Rocket Man for Best Original Song.
Yes.
For I'm Gonna Love Me Again.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
I agree with you. I think if you're going to reward someone in 2019 for that type of performance, to not even offer a nomination for what is arguably a superior performance in a superior movie.
Yes.
I thought the whole movie as a whole was even better.
Agreed.
And I loved Bohemian Rhapsody.
And I love Queen. I'm not a Queen hater.
But here's the thing where Egerton was nominated for the Screen Actors Guild Award, the BAFTAs, which is the British Actors Film and Television Association Awards, and the Golden Globes, and he won a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a comedy or musical, which I think is such a slap in the face.
Yes.
Such a slap in the face.
That's what I thought as well, that he actually won an award. And I think that's the biggest snub that got the most attention, especially because of the Rami Malek stuff.
Well, there would be people who would argue with you and say the biggest snub is actually Beyonce, who did not get nominated for Best Original Song for her piece entitled Spirit from The Lion King.
Because trash.
You're just twitching.
Like the new Lion King movie, I liked Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner as Timon and Pumbaa. Other than that, I didn't really find anything new or enjoyable about it. And I love Beyonce, but Spirit was trash. And even my girlfriend, who loves A, The Lion King, and B, Beyonce more than I do, she disliked the song. She listened to half of it and said, I'm not listening to this again.
Yeah.
So,
well, and to be fair, looking at who is in the category, you would be
category.
Up against Diane Warren. Oh, I just had it here. Crap. 11-time Oscar nominee Diane Warren, and 20-time nominee and 2-time winner Randy Newman. And if you don't know who Randy Newman is,
he's done it all.
Think Toy Story.
Yeah.
You've Got a Friend in Me. If you listen to that voice and you know the music from Toy Story,
he's done it all.
So, yes, I can tell you unequivocally, probably one of those people are going to win it. So, if it was just a case of nominating her to have her sing, I think we've all heard that's fine, So, there's some surprises here. Sorry, I'm pulling this information from entertainmentweekly.com. So, thank you to them for doing all the research that I don't have to do. Another snub, Best Animated Feature for Frozen 2. No. I don't feel this is a snub. I'm not a huge fan of sequels for awards. I think if you've already done it the first time, that's when you should get the award, but that's just me.
Disney already has Toy Story 4 nominated, so they already it's not like they're losing out on everything.
Well, and that's Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World are both nominated. So, there's
How
only
to Train Your Dragon,
much...
I believe, is... That's DreamWorks, I believe. It's not Disney.
Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at here. 2 other sequels. Oh, they meant... Sorry, it's written as...
2 other sequels.
Yes. So that could be why they didn't want to do it
Disney.
Again. This is actually a big one. A snub. Best Director, Greta Gerwig. Because as we know...
Who did
Little Women. Right now...
There's so many awards for that movie, and yet not director.
And Best Director, once again, is All Men.
Yeah.
So that's getting old.
Yeah.
That's getting real old. And for people who are saying, I mean, this is not the first rodeo for Little Women. Which is frankly part of the reason why I'm not really overly motivated to watch it.
Yeah. But
people who are saying, it's amazing, it's because of her. The performances are amazing, but she's the one that has brought this amazing relevancy to a dated or not dated, a well-known, I shouldn't say dated, well-known story. Mm-hmm. So there's people who feel that is completely bad form, that she is not nominated. So there's another one here, The Farewell. I'm not familiar with that one.
That's the one with Awkwafina, where she goes and I think her grandmother's dying. It seems like a great movie. I just haven't...
It seems really sad.
There's a lot of films that, sadly... we're not near a big city center like Toronto or Ottawa where they have the big theaters where they show every movie. The Galaxy Cineplexes we go to have what's big, and then on the rare occasion one of the littler films, quote unquote, like The Lighthouse.
Yeah. Not only with The Farewell was it snubbed, also Awkwafina was not nominated, and she won a Golden Globe, and she actually made history at the Golden Globes for being the first actress of Asian descent. I think it was a supporting actress.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of an oversight. Another one, no, that was a surprise. We don't want surprises. Oh, here we go. Snubs. Dolomite Is My Name.
Haven't
So this
heard
is
that.
it's a Netflix movie.
Okay.
You'll know this when I tell you. Eddie Murphy
Right.
was using it as a comeback vehicle, and
Yeah.
it's about based on a real life story, and people were looking at it where like this is going to be a best actor and best costume and all this stuff. Anyway, it didn't make the cut as best actor, and it did not get a nomination for best costume, which apparently it is very costume driven. I guess this
We'll have to see that. I've
wearing
heard things
yeah,
about that.
very flamboyant. So that's too bad. Here's another one. Snub, best actor Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems, and this is another one I'm interested in seeing.
Yes.
But anything I've heard about this movie is people are like blown away by Adam Sandler.
The trailers, it's one of those few trailers where I've watched it multiple times just because of someone's performance, just in the trailer itself.
Mm-hmm.
He put, like, I've seen, leading up for the film while I was filming and all that, how much he put into this character.
It was
'Cause
almost like a passion project.
It
for
was
him.
almost. And when Adam Sandler wants to be good, I believe he can be really good.
Yeah.
And he's never done a film like this where it's like dead serious, like gritty stuff. At least that I've seen that has worked.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested.
Certainly not getting this kind of buzz.
No. And it didn't get any Golden Globe recognition either.
No.
But I think maybe it came out too late for the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
But for the Oscars, it had enough time, I believe. So
But this could be again where there's a prejudice against Adam Sandler.
Yes.
I mean, this is the same guy who did Big Daddy.
yes.
So we're not talking
Jack and Jill and all those
yeah,
films.
we don't have a huge body of work. Again, thinking politically,
Yeah.
there's not a huge body of work to say, do we really want Adam Sandler? And I mean, I love him in The Wedding Singer. That's how I think of him as is like comedies or romantic comedies, that type of thing. But with just in this little synopsis of Uncut Gems, they do say that the category for best leading actor is incredibly crowded. You've got Sandler, Jonathan Pryce from The Two Popes,
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, and Taron Egerton, who would all be running against Leonardo DiCaprio, Antonio Banderas, Adam Driver, and Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, Jonathan Pryce is also nominated as well. I think he
Well,
got them
that's
mixed
what. No, it's just saying that with all those people,
Yes.
because really, that's what they're saying is DiCaprio's the one that is considered the front runner. So, would it have made any difference if they were? Another
It's
snub is.
just nice that they would have got nominated.
I
That's all.
think so too.
Yeah.
Best Actress Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Now, Us is not a movie that I was interested in seeing because I'm not a fan of
Those type of movies.
of Get Out, so I didn't
Yeah.
want to see Us. But
She did a great job.
I've heard it was amazing.
That's all I can say. She did a great job.
Yeah.
Oscar worthy. I'd have to, once I saw Little Women or Marriage Story, I'd
Mm-hmm.
be able to say, all right, who could I trade out for Lupita?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's the biggest snub.
No.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'd love to
Yes.
hear your feedback if you are a movie buff as we are and you want to give us your predictions once this
Please
podcast is
do.
loaded up. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Let
Go to
us
our-
know if you think that we're crazy because we love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something like that.
Be nice about it, though.
Yes.
Come on now. But yeah, so if you have any of your own predictions, maybe you want to go through the list and compare yours to ours and tell us where you stand. We'd love to hear from you. You can go to our email at chatspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you there. Or you can go to our Facebook page. This is Chats. To just give us, your feedback right there in a post. You'd be able to do that. Maybe when you post about, the episode coming up, maybe people can, go into the comments underneath and let us know what your predictions are, because we'd love to compare and contrast and
Of course.
see what people have to say. And Corbin has agreed. We've got him on the
You
the
have
live
my
podcast
word.
that he's going to stay up and do.
Sit up and watch the entire Oscars ceremony.
Basically, going to tweet on Facebook.
Practically, I will do that. And I will go on my personal account and share the crap out of it.
There you go.
You guys will be driven mad by all the updates.
They'll be inundated with social media. We want to say
Yes.
thank you so much for listening.
Yes,
we really
thank you.
appreciate it. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please tell friends and tell them
Give
to
it-
follow us as well.
And I believe you can do reviews on certain platforms
Yeah.
or rate us out of 5 stars. Takes a couple seconds. We would appreciate that quite
Yeah.
a bit. We are in double digits now. That's worth 5 stars, I'd say. Not a lot of podcasts, started from a closet, still in a closet.
Still in the closet.
Get 5 stars, so make our day. But
Yeah.
thank you guys for listening to this extra long pre-Oscar episode. I've been Corbin.
And I'm always Sarah.
And thank you guys for listening, and always stay tuned for our next chats.